your name, your campus, and your role in the chat so we can log that for attendance. My name is Julie Bowles. I'm a digital learning coach, a learning coach at CISD, and I'm excited to learn about FigJam with you today. It is a really great tool that we're going to dive into and just get some basics down. And then my co-host, Amanda Mask.
Good morning, everyone. So glad you're joining us. I'm Amanda Mask, Coordinator of Digital Learning. So glad you're here learning alongside of us and taking a dive into FigJam. We're excited for our time together today.
We have quite a bit to cover with this new platform in kind of a short amount of time. It's something where you'll kind of be toggling back and forth. Once we get in the FigJam board, which I'll show you in just a second, you don't have to leave it. So I'll be screen sharing. If you ever feel lost, you can come back to what I'm screen sharing so you can find where we are, but feel free to just stay in the FigJam board once I get everybody into it. We're not going to do that quite yet. The first thing I'm going to do is share a little bit of information about what is FigJam. Really quickly in the chat, has anybody used FigJam before? If you have, you can just kind of drop it in the chat. Yes, I've used it before, or yes, I've heard of it. If you haven't, feel free to, you don't have to say anything. Oh, yes, some of us yesterday. Yes, we did it. It's a really fun way to present because it gets everybody engaged. So I'm hoping we can walk away with a lot of really great ideas for our classrooms because our learners will have access to it as well. Okay, so let's get started. This is a K through 12 application that can be used with educators, learners, kids, however you want to use it in your classroom and for yourself. Coppell ISD has access to all of the premium features through their Google account. So whenever you log into FigJam in a few minutes, you'll log in with Google, and I have a whole section on that as well. So what does this mean? You and your students have unlimited access to FigJam, which is a very engaging and virtual whiteboard, and it has a whole bunch of tools inside of it. So I'm zoomed in, but this is like an unlimited campus. So if I zoom out, I've got a lot of space for activities, lots of rooms for things. So I've kind of shifted in presentation mode to FigJams because everybody can participate. All right, so we're going to meet FigJam. I'm going to show a quick 1-minute video overview. It's kind of like a sped up version of what FigJam could look like. And then we're going to talk about some gradual release and best practices, and then we're going to jump in and start practicing. So let me get this video going. I'm hearing we're not hearing the sound. There's supposed to be like whole music with it. I'm not sure why it's not playing. So that's kind of, okay. Can you nod if we hear sound when I was playing the video? Okay, shake your head no if you could not hear the sound. Okay, cool. That's okay. I'm not going to awkwardly play a silent video, so we're just going to dive in so that nobody feels awkward, especially me. I don't want to feel awkward. So basically, as you saw in that video, there's a whole lot of tools that kids can add in and you can add in for them that we're going to practice with today. You can add in things like PDFs and links that they can go to and make it kind of like a hub where they would access the FigJam and all of their resources would be there. You can link in YouTube videos and it plays right within the FigJam board. You can, this is a Google slideshow if you wanted to put in a presentation. So there's all sorts of media you can add in to have access easily and quickly for your kids. So when we do this, we had a couple questions yesterday about kind of management with this tool when thinking about it with students. So just as best practice, I know we are all jumping in, like all 50 of us today together for the first time. If we were doing this in a classroom, we would want to start off with kind of a gradual release where maybe you give individual learners their own FigJam board and they play with the features, they're learning the tools. I like to give just a few minutes for them to like button mash where they can get it all out of their system. I set a timer and they can just play and then move towards individual structured learning with the FigJam board. And then you could create boards to share with small groups, maybe where they're brainstorming or testing out features together or project planning. There is all sorts of uses for it. And then eventually, after they've mastered small group usage, they can move into whole class usage. A quick overview of kind of the tools here as a teacher. This is a lot like Jamboard, if you ever use Jamboard, but there are so many more tools. And Jamboard, Google Jamboard is actually going away and Google is discontinuing that application. There are directions in here where if you are someone who loved Jamboard and you had a lot of Jamboards, you can actually transfer those into FigJam quite easily. And there's tutorials in here where you can do that. So think of this like Jamboard times infinity if you've ever used Jamboard. So when you come up to the top bar, and I'm just showing you on my screen, is where you can do things like share. So if I wanted to share with my students, I could grab the copy link. I'm going to do that with y'all in just a second. And you can actually have them come onto your board. So in just a minute, I'm going to send that to you. You can also make duplicates and copies of different boards. So if you were to click on where my title right here, Getting Started with FigJam, there's a little arrow next to it. And when I click on the arrow, I can see the version history, just like in a Google Doc. So if you ever needed to kind of back up and see who was doing what or what was being added in by who, you can open that up and very quickly see the version history, just like you can in the Google Education Suite. You can duplicate the board, rename it, move it for organization, or delete it. So there's lots of things you can do with this that are very similar to Google Docs in the way that you share and make copies. One of my favorite features is on the top bar, there is a timer that you can start, and we'll play with this later, but it has a built-in timer. And when students or teachers are on the FigJam board that is shared, when I start the timer, they will also see it on their board, and you'll be able to experience that as well. And then we have built-in music here that can be played right inside, and it'll play on their devices when they're logged into the FigJam board. So even if they're not super close to you in proximity, they can still see the timer really well and hear your music. So just kind of an overview of some of those teacher tools. In just a second, I'm going to send this link. The most important thing is navigation of this board. So let me send the board to the link, to the chat. There we go. When you click on that link, you can log in with Google. So you'll want to log in with Google if it prompts you to log in. We all have access to it if you log in with Google. If you're running into any snags, feel free to drop something in the chat to let us know. If it doesn't prompt you to log in, that's okay. And you can see on the top of my bar, if you come back, or on the top of your bar, all of our little initials are popping up. Right now it's a lot of A's because it didn't prompt us to log in, which is okay. But usually it'll prompt you to log in, so your learners would have to log in. Okay, and you can see all of our little cursors on there. One of the really fun things about this is when you're using it on a laptop, you can see where everybody's cursors are. And if you click one of the letters up at the top right next to the timer, you will actually snap to follow that person. So if I click on, let's see, I'm going to tap on Beth and find where Beth is. I did the little drop down next to the initials at the top. I'm going to click on Beth, and now I'm going to follow Beth wherever she goes. So you can follow people if you ever get lost. As an educator, you can also spotlight yourself. So I'm going to stop following Beth. You can spotlight yourself and have your students or participants follow you on purpose. So I'm going to tap on my initial up at the top and I'm going to hit spotlight me. And then you're going to join my cursor so that you will be brought with me. There we go, 28 followers. So now when I zoom out and if I move over and zoom in on this section, everybody's going to start zooming in with me. So it kind of brings you along with me, unless you move away. I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to zoom in and how to navigate. Okay, so just practicing zooming in and zooming out really quickly. If you're on your MacBook, it's your pinch in and out to zoom in and zoom out. You can zoom out really, really far. That's how I like to move things around if I need to. You can also zoom in really, really close. So size of objects don't matter too much. If you're struggling with zooming in or zooming out, please drop something in the chat so we can help you out with that. You can also hit Command plus or Command minus, and it'll zoom you out if you don't want to use the pinch gestures. For navigation, when we look at our bar here, if you are on the arrow or the hand, the arrow is the one that I recommend the most. If you hit V on your keyboard, it's a shortcut to get there quickly, and you can move around with your trackpad. Just use your fingers to move around the board. So practice moving around the board a little bit, zooming in, zooming out, just kind of orient yourself to it. If you're running into any struggles, that's okay. Just let us know. I see people dropping sticky notes and all sorts of things. That's fine as well. We're going to get into that in just a second. So looks like we're all good. Woo. If you move something on accident or add something on accident, hit Command Z, and Command Z will undo whatever you just did. I would love to lock our sections, but when I lock our sections, we can't actually do anything in them. They are static. We can put things on top of them, but we can't do anything with it if it's built in. So I've locked this section now, and you can see when you try to move it, I can't move anything inside the section. So you can lock it and unlock it by when I right click it and I hit lock, and it'll lock. So that's just stuck there. All right, I'm going to stop the spotlight, and then I'm going to move down here and restart the spotlight just to some quick tips before we dive in and start playing. So you have a bunch of keyboard shortcuts. If you hit Command Z, that's the undo button. If you accidentally add something or anything like that, that's right here on this gray box. If you hit your backslash button, you can actually chat with your cursor and it shows up as a chat. So that's kind of cool. I really like that cursor chat. You can add a comment. We're going to practice with all these other things, so I don't want to go too much into it. But if you ever forget, that's there. And I have all of these other quick tips here as well for you, because you'll have access to this board later. You can keep this board as a resource forever. So if you ever forget something, you can come back to it and be like, oh yeah, how do I do emotes? Oh, I'm going to hit E and click on emotes and do an emoji. Okay, so that'll be there for you. No worries. If you have any questions or need help, please drop it in the chat so that we can lend you a hand. I know with so many of us, this can get a little overwhelming and we're moving a little bit fast. So, all right, let's go on to our first activity. We're going to move to the red section that says warm up. I'm going to spotlight myself again, try to pull us all over to warm up. There we go. All right. So in warm up here, and this is kind of what I was talking about with locking and unlocking those sections. I've made sections, but I actually want you to do something with it. If I were to lock it, you couldn't do anything with this section. So that's that gradual release of responsibility when you're doing it with learners, right? You have to really set those expectations so they don't go start moving all your stuff around on purpose. On accident, totally fine. All right, so we are going to hover our mouse under the response below and give high fives to each other and then leave a stamp. So this says, if you were stuck on a desert island, would you rather, and you'll go to put your cursor over the purple one if you'd rather have unlimited books, or the blue if you'd rather have unlimited movies. So just drop your cursor where you fit. Purple is for unlimited books, and blue is for unlimited movies. You don't have to click or anything like that. You're just going to put it over the top. And then I'm going to hold down my H button. And when I hold down my H button, a little hand shows up and you can high five people. So hold down your H and high five people in your box to be like, yeah, books or movies, if that's what you chose. So just kind of have fun high fiving people. And again, you just hold down the H button. So that's a fun little, I don't know, it's just fun, right? All right, let's practice with the stamps now. So wherever you fell, go ahead and put a stamp in the orange box below it, the orange outlined box. There's a couple ways you can get to it. You can hit the stamp button on the toolbar at the bottom, or you can hit your E button on your computer and go to the stamps and you just plop a stamp down. So the squares and the circles and the triangles are shapes. We're going to mess with shapes in just a few minutes. The sticky notes are sticky notes. We're going to mess with those in a few minutes. If you go over to the stamp button, let me find where I have put my quick, here you go. Ugh, I locked it. It looks like a little stamper. So on the toolbox, you're going to tap the little stamper. Really good, really good. Practice an emote as well. So if you practice an emote, you'll hit your S button. Nope, sorry, E button. And then you see the stamp at the bottom and then the little smiley face at the top. Tap the little smiley face. These aren't permanent. They're just sort of reactions. Play with those reactions a little bit. I'm doing fire all over the board. So that's fun as well. All right, and then I'm going to stop. I'm going to pull us down just a little bit more to this next one, which is add a stamp where you would most like to visit. So you have three options here: the beach, a theme park, a safari, the moon, kind of the woods or foresty area, or a city, any city. Where would you most like to visit? Drop a stamp there, whatever stamp you want. Oh, I didn't mean to do a thumbs down stamp. Oops. Command Z. Let's drop stamps. Good job. It's the one that looks like the little stamper. You can hit E. I know I keep hitting S for stickies and I drop stickies. The E will take you to your quick stamper where you can drop it down. Nice, nice. If you have any questions or need help along the way, please, please, please drop something on the chat so that we can get you some help. All right, I'm going to scroll down just a little bit more. So another idea or one way these stamps could be used in the classroom besides the above ones are something like a pro-con list where students could add sticky notes with pros and cons and ideas and then use their stamps to agree or disagree with it and make some comments on there. So we're going to practice with sticky notes. Now, I have put in tons and tons of sticky notes for us. So if we move over to where it says activity 1, stickies and comments. If I were doing this in my classroom and I had a, rostered class full of learners and I wanted to prepare their sticky notes, I would probably drop their names on the sticky notes. Like this would be Joe and this would be Samantha and this would be Alice. Okay, so I would pre-drop their names in there so they would know to go to, oh, I'm going to go to the one with my name on it. Now there's like 50 of you, so I did not do that beforehand. So we're going to have just some educator professional trust here. If you could find a sticky note and just double click it to tap it and make the cursor show up, and you can type. You can go all the way to the bottom. That's often my default. I'm going to go to the bottom because probably no one's there. You can go to the top. You will be able to see if someone's cursor is on it. So if someone's cursor is already on it, go to a different one. And if you would answer this question in the sticky note, would you rather go on vacation or stay home for the summer? What would you do? Explain your answer. So I'm going to give you a quick minute to just kind of answer that. Pick a sticky note that's already there. And then you can read through some of them that are being entered in and you can stamp it for an agreement or if you like the idea. If you'll also please drop your name in that sticky note, and then I'm going to show you how to turn on authorship in a moment as well. So I'm going to give you just a second. Find a sticky note that's there. If you add one, it's okay, just move it on top of one. And to delete, you would just select it and hit your delete button, and it'll delete anything you added. Nice. All right. Good. I see some of us playing with the marker tool. We're going to play with that as well in just a few minutes and how we can do that. Nice. I see a lot of go on vacation. Mm-hmm. Lots of go on vacation. I'm kind of in the, I'd want to go on vacation, but like a short vacation, like a week or two, which is, I guess, not the shortest vacation, but, and then stay home for the rest of the time. So I felt like I had rest. All right. Nice. Nice, 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 nice. Okay, I'm going to give about 5 more seconds to wrap it up. If you pull something over, that's okay. Just hit Command Z to undo it or move it over to the side. And I am going to now lock this section. So now I've locked the section. I've got all my responses and they can't be moved or tapped on or anything like that. If you will, on your keyboard, if you are on your Mac, hit the C button. And when you hit the C button, a little speech bubble pulls up where you can leave a comment. This would be great for if you were giving feedback to educators or to learners in your classroom, any participant on the board. So I am going to find someone I want to respond to. Let's see. Ooh, vacation. I love seeing new places. So I hit my C button. I see my little speech bubble. And now I'm just going to tap on the person I want to leave a comment. And I'm just going to type, me too. I love seeing new places. And then you can see that it comes up with your little comment there that you can hover over. So I can see that Danny left a comment that she loves the beach. Nice, nice. Abby loves going to new places as well. So just dropping a comment over the top, practicing with that feature. Again, you're going to hit C on your keyboard. You're going to find when you want to leave a comment, and then you're going to tap on it. If you're doing it on your iPad, I do need to explore that further to see how to leave a comment if you're doing it on your iPad. Oh, I do not want to spotlight. All right. All right, if you have any questions about that, please drop it in the chat. And I kind of organize this next section for just a second. It got a little jumbled. Like I said, there's a lot of people here and we're not in person. So I know that doing this virtually and kind of following along at the same time can be a little on the tougher end, especially because there's so many of us, which I absolutely love. All right, nice. I see a lot of comments. You can also see when you tap on one of the comments that somebody has left, you tap on one of their little speech bubbles, you can reply to those comments as well. So comments is a really great tool to use that you can leave feedback or have students comment with each other, all sorts of applications there. All right, I am going to spotlight myself and pull us over to the next one, which is markers and annotation. Now, this one's a little bit tough to use on the MacBook because drawing with your finger, right, is never a good time. I really struggle when I have to draw with my finger using my trackpad, but on the iPads, this works seamlessly for students. So the marker and highlighter tools make it easy for everyone to annotate and draw directly on the board. And that's on the toolbar, the one that looks like a pen. In just a second, I'm going to have an activity for you to do with it. So if you could just sort of follow along with me and listen while I talk about it. So, for example, they gave a little section here where they were highlighting vocabulary words and prefixes, the prefix con, and then everyone give it up for America's favorite. They highlighted that section and underlined somehow. Probably has something to do with grammar, history. I'm not sure what this lesson had to do with, but you can annotate on those texts easily. And then they drew this little picture out to the side. Another activity could be, okay, I want groups to annotate on a specific document. So when I want my groups to annotate on a specific document, and I'm on the section that says directions, find your group, highlight your dates in yellow, highlight key terms in green, highlight proper nouns in purple. Okay, so once you're there, you would get your students into groups. Yeah, you can start practicing with the highlighter on top of those documents for sure. And they can just highlight the words. Something really cool. So if you're in your highlighting tool, if you'll pause for just a second and look next to the directions area, I'm going to put a rectangle there so you can see where I'm talking about. Just an empty blue rectangle is where I'm looking. There are built-in widgets that can actually make groups for you. So you're going to get a chance to play with these widgets as well, but I went to my plus and I am going to search, and I'll show you this in just a second. There we go. And I'm going to hit my team generator. Okay, so that's a team generator widget. And let's say I want 6 teams because I put 6 documents, an unlimited amount of people per team, and I want to randomize it. And then it's going to generate, it might take a minute because there's so many of us, it'll generate the teams for me right there and they're randomized. So that is a really great widget as an educator where you can have that on there and it'll randomize your teams as long as they're logged in, which our learners will all be logged in when they're using this, to generate those teams quickly for you so that you don't have to worry about, you don't need to worry about making those teams. Okay, hang on. Let me move this. There's so many of us. Unlock. There we go. All right. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So I can see a lot of us are practicing with the highlighter tool. That's great. When we scroll down, so I see those documents that say, what were the primary reasons for the fall of Rome? So I'm scrolling down, down, down below number 6 to where it says practice. And there's little clipboards. So you're going to find a clipboard and type your name underneath it. And just use your marker tool or your highlighter tool inside the keyboard and draw a little emoji. You can zoom in really, really far when you're doing this, okay? So use your marker tool. That's the one that looks like a pen at the bottom of your screen. And you can just draw on the inside. Again, I am on my MacBook, so my emoji is probably going to be questionable. And that's okay. Just practicing with the pen tool. To add your name, you'll double tap where it says add your name here when you're on the arrow, which is your select tool. Double click it and you can type your name in the box. Give me a second to kind of play with that. You could also use shapes to make your emoji if you wanted to. Yep. Cute. I love it. Oh, the washi tape. I love the washi tape feature. We'll have to explore that as well. Nice, nice, nice. These are so great. All right. Keep working on your emoji if you want to. If you have a question or need help, please drop it in the chat. Amanda and I are working on helping you with that. So to put your name in the box where it says your name here underneath a clipboard, you would just double tap over the text that says your name here. It'll highlight the text. You can delete it and type over it. Cool. Okay. Nice. All right, I'm going to move us over a little bit now. So when I move, I like to zoom way, way out. And then I zoom back in on the section where I'm going to. Let me lock this section really quickly. Hold on. All right, so our next activity that we're going to practice with is activity 3, shapes and connections. So if you want to move over that way, I will spotlight myself so I can drag everybody over as well. Again, as a classroom teacher, if I were doing this as a classroom teacher, I would have put names here for my learners so they didn't have to have like a free-for-all picking which one they were going to do, and you know, who knows what would happen there. I would actually put their names there so they would know exactly which one to go to, or let them make the connection themselves. But so you can practice with shapes. These are great activities in making thinking visible. So you're going to select a row of 3 for yourself anywhere in these rows. There are so many. I added so many of them to make sure that you could do what you needed to do, and there was plenty for all of us. And then you're going to write out the first 3 things you do when waking up. So these are just like text boxes. So I'm going to kind of come down to this bottom second row. And if you get lost here, please feel free to spotlight, zoom in on me, or jump back to where I'm sharing my screen, and you can watch what I'm doing before you try it out. So I'm going to be on this bottom one here, and I am going to double tap to type in my box. I stumble out of bed. How does the song go? Make a cup of coffee, right? And then working 9 to 5. That's what I do. I assure you there are brushing teeth and things like that in there as well. So couldn't remember my Dolly Parton fully off the top of my head without singing it, and I won't put anybody through that. When you click on the shape, after you've typed it in, you can tap on the shape itself and it brings up the toolbar, probably something similar that you're used to, where you can change the look of your shape. If you wanted to, you could change the color by going to the color wheel. You can change the text type, bold. There's all sorts of things you can do when you tap on the shape where you can make changes. So again, after I type it in, I can tap on the shape. I can change the type of shape if I wanted to. I could change the color. I can change the font. So I'm gonna give everybody a minute just to kind of practice with those pre-made shapes, typing in the shapes, and see if you can work on changing the format. You can also tilt the shapes when you have it selected. When you have it selected, if you're interested in this and you want to see what I'm doing, definitely feel free to find my cursor on that bottom. I'm on working 9 to 5, or you can view where I'm sharing my screen. So if you want to tilt your shape, when you have it selected, if you just kind of come right on the outside, your arrow turns into a little curved arrow. If I put my arrow right on the outside, okay? When I put my arrow right on the outside and it turns into a little curved arrow, I can click and hold down and turn it however I might want. Those connectors are actually fastened. So wherever you move your shape, the connectors are going to stay with it. So I'm going to give you a minute to just kind of practice with those shapes, changing, tilting if you need to. You can change the font type. If you messed up, or if you add something you didn't mean to, or anything like that, Command Z. And Command Z will undo things, pretty quickly for you. Nice. Check my phone. Guilty. I do the same thing. I probably do that before I get out of bed. Shouldn't, but I do. Okay. So that shapes and connectors. Those connectors can be added to any shapes to make connections. So these would be great for thinking maps, if you're doing thinking maps, or anything you want to make thinking visible and show connections through. All right. Okay. If you want to continue with that in a few minutes, we're going to have some free explore time in just a minute where you're welcome to come back to any of these activities and keep practicing with them. I'm going to pull us over to one of my favorite features of FigJam, which is widgets and stickers. So widgets are kind of like little apps that you can put in. So for example, this is a Connect 4 widget that you could put in. You could put in a little quiz. There's a dice widget where they can roll the dice. There's a flip a coin widget. I keep saying fidget, not fidget. Different type of tool. Widget. There is Teams, voice memos, all sorts of things. If you were with me yesterday, you know this fun little camera booth one. You can tap on the red button on the Polaroid camera. It'll ask for permission for your camera. Definitely allow permission if you want that. Kids would love this. And then it'll add a picture. I have balloons in my picture. Why? I don't know, but there they are. You can print out the picture, and then I think I have this section locked. Let me unlock it. There we go. You can move your picture wherever you wanted to. So if you want to practice or touch some of those widgets, you could also practice adding a widget. To add a widget on your toolbar at the bottom, where you have all of your kind of tools to interact, if you go to the plus button at the far right, the plus button opens up a menu that says all stickers, where we're going to drop stickers on the right in the circle. If you want to explore the stickers, there's all kinds of stickers there. There's templates. Please don't add any templates, but these templates are ones that you can pull from when you're making your own board. If you were to add a template now, it would add a whole bunch to this board. So we're not going to add any templates. And then widgets. Widgets are so fun. You can search for widgets to see. So if I wanted to have like a vote, I could search vote in there where it says widget, and it'll bring up different actions I could do. So just kind of play around with, how do I find widgets? These, this or that, and these scales and things like that, they can also be customized. So I'm going to pull us down to, let's see, I'm going to pull us over to some of these widgets that I added, because I love these for voting in the classroom or agreement or anything like that. When I add a title, I could say, I believe salty snacks are better than sweet snacks. And then you can kind of align yourself. Okay, do I strongly agree with that? Am I neutral, or do I disagree? And you can pick where you would fall in that scale. So I can see everybody kind of picking where they would go. And you can hide those results if you don't want learners to see it, or you can release them and let them see it as they're going. So that's just a fun little alignment scale, agree or disagree. It's the same thing with this voting. If I set up my voting session here, whoa. If I set up my voting session here and I'm going to say, I don't know, you can put in your topic and everything. I don't have a voting session planned, so I'm not going to type anything randomly in there, but you can definitely have just for general votes. So all sorts of things. All right. Same with this or that. This or that can be made to be personalized as well. Let's practice with stickers real quick, and then I'm going to give you time to explore and practice and set up your own boards so you can ask questions as you go. So in this orange circle to the right, we're just going to practice adding a sticker. So if you hit the plus button on your toolbar, the plus button on the bottom, and then you click on the stickers tab, they have different libraries of stickers that you could pick from. There's a lot of really cute ones on there. So just find a sticker or two, add them in. Let's see. I like, what do I like? And you add your sticker. You can move it. Let me lock this. There we go. Okay, circle is locked. So now when you try to move your sticker, you can move it. And we won't have an issue with the circle moving. That was my mistake. I definitely should have locked those shapes. Nice. So explore those stickers. They're a lot of fun. Good deal. Good deal. All right. What better way to engage kids than with those cute stickers? Love them. Okay. It's going to be time now to explore a little bit on your own and see if you can get things set up, or whatever you want to do, kind of a few minutes of a pick your own learning explore time. So I'm pulling us over to this purple board that says explore time. This is a selection of different learning tools you could pick from, different FigJam boards if you wanted to make a copy. So where you see like this friendship bracelet builder, if I click on where it says friendship bracelet builder, and you can click on it as well, that's this one right here. When I click on it, it's going to open up the board, and you can see it says open in FigJam. So when you click on one of these templates, it'll say open in FigJam. And when you say open in FigJam, it should open in a new tab. You can open it in, it should be Copel. and it'll make a copy just for you. So here I've put a lot of different templates that you could use that were created by teachers. You can follow FigJam and kind of explore what that's like on Twitter, X, whatever it is. Down below where it says created by the Figma team, I love, 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 love these. These are kind of your introduction boards here where I put the stars next to them. If you just want to practice skills or things you can build off of, you'll see a lot of the activities that we did in some of these. I smashed a bunch of them together to explore, but definitely things you could use with your kids for introduction activities and just tweak it to fit your needs. In the middle, I put some videos for you if you wanted to watch some of the videos on things like transitioning from Jamboard to FigJam, classroom management, using FigJam, FigJam for teachers, and how to send your learners a force copy link where they would have to make their own copy. An article here on 12 tips for FigJam, how to create a blank FigJam, so all sorts of things. And then over here on the right, there's some more templates that are ready-made for you that you can click on, click open in FigJam and explore. This FigJam community right here, where it has the FigJam logo. I have it kind of highlighted on the FigJam board. If you click on that, it will open the whole template library with a lot of things. So I'm going to set a timer for, let's see, 5 minutes. And if you want to just practice exploring some of these templates, making copies of the templates, watching one of the videos if you're interested in that, 5 minutes on the clock for you to just kind of explore those resources, practice on your own board if you want to. You could go back to one of the activities we did and practice with it. Ask questions in the chat if you need help. We want you to feel comfortable with the tool starting out. So 5 minutes on the clock. I'm going to start it on our timer. You can see it on your timer on your Jamboard up at the top. It says 4:55. I'm going to put on music if it'll play. And I'll call us back in just a couple of minutes for our wrap up. Questions can go in the chat. We are here to help. All right, wrapping up about 30 seconds. If you want to hop back onto our FigJam board so we can wrap up. We're going to go in just about 20 seconds over to our final kind of reflection, asking any questions and things like that. 10 more seconds if you're not back on the FigJam board. Stop my music here. There we go. All right, so we're going to move over. Hopefully you were able to explore those just a little bit. We're going to move over to our final section here, which is reflect and ask. So David Rose, probably one of my favorite fictional characters of all time. Just however you're feeling about FigJam. I know this was a lot and there were a lot of us, but just kind of what you're thinking about it, your initial thoughts on it for you as an educator, as a tool for your classroom, any kind of thoughts, just leave a stamp on where you're thinking. Maybe I'm kind of like skeptical, except for I'm not skeptical. I actually really like FigJam. So I'm gonna move it right here. And then I have 3 blue boxes for you. There is an I learned, I like, I want to try box. I wonder, I have questions, or I would love support with box. And then a general feedback and thoughts, just kind of in general. You can leave a sticky note there with your thoughts. You can leave a shape and type inside the shape. You can use your comment button and leave a comment on top. However you would like to put in your thoughts there. If you'll drop your name on your sticky, if you leave a sticky. This was a great question. How do I find my templates that I create? Before we hop off, if you have to go right at 12, totally understand. But I can show you really quickly before we hop off, once I give everybody a second to kind of leave their thoughts, so that if you want to hop off of the board and into Zoom to watch my screen, I can show you where to do that. You can definitely leave your stickers and things like that. And once you've left one somewhere, it doesn't have to be in both. It could be in one, it could be in 2, up to you. Once you've left that, I am going to bid you adieu, unless you want to stay and watch how I find our templates that we create so you know how to get back to it later. And that's something, this is such a great tool. Your learning coach, when you're back on campus, would love to sit with you. If you want to sit together and kind of go through the things we went through at a very speedy pace, your learning coach, when you're back on campus, I know would love to sit with you and show it to you. If you think of something later, you can also send me an email, and I will be happy to respond to you and help out however I can if it's before we're back on campus. This was just sort of a really quick introduction 101. What even is FigJam? Just so you could get your brains kind of working with it to think about it as you're going into the school year. Our learners will have access to it. As I said, it's an app in Manager. They can download the app from Manager and log in with their Google. All right. I will leave this board up as well, and we can send it out if you need it for later access. It's also in those templates. I am going to show us really quickly how to view all of our boards that we've made. So if you want to see that, if you want to hop over to Zoom so you can see my screen that I'm sharing. All right. So up in your top bar, you've got this little FigJam. Oh, it's behind my chat window. You've got the little FigJam logo up in the top bar of your Fig board. So wherever you are right now in FigJam, the very top left corner is the little FigJam logo with a little drop caret. When you click on the caret, it'll say back to files. So I can click on back to files. Don't judge my messy files. I just play with making copies of templates and seeing what I can do. And then once you've done that, you are back to all of your files that you have made copies of. So you can go back to any of them and view them later or add to them or change them. So like, here's my technology tweaks that I did yesterday. I could access that quickly. If you're not already in a Fig board and you want to get to FigJam, you would go to figma.com. Figma is kind of like a coding piece, but it connects to FigJam. It's a subset. And then when you go to Figma, it would ask you to log in or create a board, and then it would take you there. So if you want to practice with that real quick, just to make sure you can get into it, and we can help you if you run into any issues before you leave. All right. Okay. Just checking the chat to see if you got it. Okay. And again, we know this is so much. This is kind of like a crash course in FigJam. We just wanted to make sure that you are aware of it and aware of the features so we can sit with you and help you when we get back to school, sit next to you and do whatever you need to do and whatever we need to do to get it going in your classroom, because it is a really great tool. So you guys are awesome. Thank you for learning with us today. And we can't wait to see you back on campus and see what you do.